And it seemeth a pity unto me, most noble Laconius, that ye should be so foolish and vain as to suppose that ye can stand against so many brave men who are at my command, who do now at this time stand in their arms, and do await with great anxiety for the word, go down upon the Nephites and destroy them. And I, knowing of their unconquerable spirit, having proved them in the field of battle, and knowing of their everlasting hatred towards you, because of the many wrongs which ye have done unto them, therefore, if they should come down against you, they would visit you with utter destruction. Therefore I have written this epistle, sealing it with mine own hand, feeling for your welfare, because of your firmness in that which ye believe to be right, and your noble spirit in the field of battle. Therefore I write to you, desiring that you would yield up unto this my people, your cities, your lands, and your possessions, rather than that they should visit you with the sword, and that destruction should come upon you. Or in other words, yield yourselves up unto us, and unite with us, and become acquainted with our secret works, and become our brethren, that ye may be like unto us, not our slaves, but our brethren, and partners of all our substance. And behold, I swear unto you, if ye will do this with an oath, ye shall not be destroyed. But if ye will not do this, I swear unto you with an oath, that on the morrow month I will command that my army shall come down against you, and they shall not stay their hand, and shall not spare not, but shall slay you, and shall let fall the sword upon you, even until ye shall become extinct. Behold, I am Gideon. I am the governor of this secret society of Gadianton, which society and the works thereof I know to be good, that they are of ancient date, that they have been handed down to us. And I write this epistle unto you, Laconius, and I hope that ye will deliver up your lands and your possessions without the shedding of blood, that this my people may recover their rights and government, who have dissented away from you because of your wickedness, in retaining from them their rights of government, and except you do this, I will avenge their wrongs. I am Gideon. And now it came to pass that when Laconius received this epistle, he was exceedingly astonished, because of the boldness of Gideon, demanding the possession of the land of the Nephites, and also of the threatenings of the people, and avenging the wrongs of those who had received no wrong, save where they had wronged themselves by dissenting away unto those wicked and abominable robbers. Now behold, this Laconius, the governor, was a just man, and could not be frightened by the demands and threatenings of a robber. Therefore he did not hearken to the epistle of Gideon, and the governors of the robbers, but he did cause that his people should cry unto the Lord for strength against the time that the robbers should come down against them. Yea, he sent a proclamation among all the people, that they should gather together their women, their children, their flocks, and their herds, and all their substance, save it were their land, unto one place, and he caused that fortifications should be built round about them, and the strength thereof should be exceedingly great. And he caused that armies both of the Nephites and of the Lamanites, or of all them who were numbered among the Nephites, should be placed as guards round about to watch them, and to guard them from the robbers day and night. Yea, he said unto them, As the Lord liveth, except ye repent of all your iniquities, and cry to the Lord, you will no wise be delivered out of the hands of those Gadianton robbers. And so great and marvelous were the words and prophecies of Laconius, that they did cause fear to come upon all the people, and they did exert themselves in the might to do according to the words of Laconius. And it came to pass that Laconius did appoint chief captains over all the armies of the Nephites, and command them at the time that the robbers should come down out of the wilderness against them. Now the chiefest among all the chief captains and great commander of all the armies of the Nephites was appointed, and his name was Gideon. Now it was the custom among all the Nephites to appoint for their chief captains, save it were in their times of wickedness, someone that had the spirit of revelation and also prophecy. Therefore Gideon was a great prophet among them, as also was the chief judge. Now the people said unto Gideon, Pray unto the Lord, and let us go up upon the mountain and into the wilderness, that we may fall upon the robbers and destroy them in their own lands. But Gideon saith unto them, The Lord forbid, for if we should go up against them, the Lord will deliver us into their hands. Therefore we will prepare ourselves in the center of our lands, and we will gather all our armies together, and we will not go against them, but we will wait till they shall come against us. Therefore, as the Lord liveth, if we do this, he will deliver them into our hands. And it came to pass in the 17th year, in the latter end of the year, the proclamation of Laconius had gone forth throughout all the face of the land, and they had taken their horses, and their chariots, and their cattle, and all their flock, and all their herds, and their grain, and all their substance, did march forth by thousands, and by tens of thousands, until they had all gone forth to the place which had been appointed, that they should gather themselves together to defend themselves against their enemies. And the land which was appointed was the land of Zarahemla, and the land which was between the land Zarahemla and the land Bountiful, yea, to the line which was between the land Bountiful and the land Desolation. And there were a great many thousand people who were called Nephites, who did gather themselves together in this land. Now Laconia did cause that they should gather themselves together in the land southward, because of the great curse which was upon the land northward. And they did fortify themselves against their enemies, and did dwell in one land and one body, and they did fear the word which had been spoken by Laconia, insomuch that they did repent of all their sins. And they did put up their prayers unto the Lord their God, that he would deliver them in the time that their enemies should come down against them to battle. And they were exceedingly sorrowful because of their enemies, and Gidgiddoni did cause that they should make weapons of war of every kind, and they should be strong with armor, and with shields, and with bucklers, after the manner of his instruction. Chapter 4. The Nephite armies defeat Gadianton robbers. Gidgiddoni is slain, and his successor, Zermnariah, is hanged. The Nephites praised the Lord for their victories, about AD 19-22. And it came to pass in the latter end of the 18th year, those armies of the robbers had prepared for battle, and began to come down and to sally forth from the hills, and out of the mountains, and the wilderness, and their strongholds, and their secret places, and began to take possession of the lands, both which were in the land south, and which were in the land north, and began to take possession of all the lands which had been deserted by the Nephites, and the cities which had been left desolate. But behold, there were no wild beasts nor game in those lands which had been deserted by the Nephites, and there was no game for the robbers save it were in the wilderness. And the robbers could not exist save it were in the wilderness for the want of food, for the Nephites had left their lands desolate, and had gathered their flocks and their herds and all their substance, and they were in one body. Therefore there was no chance for the robbers to plunder and to obtain food, save it were to come up in open battle against the Nephites. The Nephites being in one body, having so great a number, and having reserved for themselves provisions and horses and cattle and flocks of every kind, that they might subsist for the space of 7 years, in the which time they did hope to destroy the robbers from off the face of the land, and thus the 18th year did pass away. And it came to pass in the 19th year that Gidgiddoni found that it was expedient that he should go up to battle against the Nephites, for there was no way they could subsist save it were to plunder and rob and murder. And they durst not spread themselves upon the face of the land, insomuch that they could raise grain, lest the Nephites should come upon them and slay them. Therefore Gidgiddoni gave commandment unto his armies in this year that they should go up to battle against the Nephites. And it came to pass that they did come up to battle, and it was in the 6th month. And behold, great and terrible was the day that they did come up to battle. And they were girded about after the manner of robbers, and they had a lambskin about their loins, and they were dyed in blood, and their heads were shorn, and they had head plates upon them. And great and terrible was the appearance of their armor of Gidgiddoni, because of their armor, because of it being their being dyed in blood. And it came to pass that the armies of the Nephites, when they saw the appearance of the army of Gidgiddoni, had all fallen to the earth, and did lift up their cries to the Lord their God, that he would spare them and deliver them out of the hands of their enemies. And it came to pass that when the armies of Gidgiddoni saw this, they began to shout with a loud voice because of their joy, for they had supposed that the Nephites had fallen with fear because of the terror of their armies. But in this thing they were not disappointed, for the Nephites did not fear them, but they did fear their God, and did supplicate him for protection. Therefore, when the armies of Gidgiddoni did rush upon them, they were prepared to meet them, yea, in the strength of the Lord they did receive them. And the battle commenced in the 6th month, and great and terrible was the battle thereof. Yea, great and terrible was the slaughter thereof, insomuch that there never was known so great a slaughter among all the people of Lehi since he left Jerusalem. And notwithstanding the threatenings and the oaths which Gideon had made, behold, the Nephites did beat them, insomuch that they did fall back from before them. And it came to pass that Gidgiddoni commanded that his army should pursue them as far as the borders of the wilderness, and that they should not spare any that should fall into their hands by the way, unless they did pursue them and did slay them, to the borders of the wilderness, even until they had fulfilled the commandment of Gidgiddoni. And it came to pass that Gidgiddoni, who had stood and fought with boldness, was pursued as he fled, and being weary because of his much fighting, he was overtaken and slain, and thus was the end of Gidgiddoni the robber. And it came to pass that the armies of the Nephites did return again to their place of security, and it came to pass in this 19th year did not pass away, and the robbers did not come again to battle, neither did they come again in the 20th year. And in the 21st year they did not come up to battle, but they came up on all sides to lay siege round about the people of Nephi. For they did suppose that if they should cut off the people of Nephi from their lands, and should hem them in on every side, and if they should cut them off from all their outward privileges, that they could cause them to yield themselves up according to their wishes. Now they had appointed unto themselves another leader, whose name was Zermnariah. Therefore it was Zermnariah that had caused the siege to take place. But behold, this was an advantage to the Nephites, for it was impossible for the robbers to lay siege sufficiently long to have any effect upon the Nephites, because of their much provision which they had laid up in store. And because of the scantiness of provisions among the robbers, for behold, they had nothing save it were a meat for their subsistence, which meat they did obtain in the wilderness. And it came to pass that the wild game became scarce in the wilderness, insomuch that the robbers were about to perish with hunger.